Good morning, everybody. We actually had another guest speaker, but he wasn't able to make it today, so we'll step in this. This is Brian Road. It's a well-regulated militia, being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed, ratified in 1791. Guarantees our God-given right to keep and bear arms. Those who wish to not own or possess firearms are afforded that right as protected under the Constitution. It's not our place to force them to own firearms, just as it is not their right to restrict or demand our rights be further infringed upon. The right of gun owners have been constantly assaulted and infringed upon by calling for more gun legislation and going as far as outright bans. We've heard them say, "We don't want to take your guns away," one day. Then the retort changes and the mouthpiece is open up saying they flat out they won't stop until they take our guns. They like to claim our founding fathers had no idea what the future would hold when it came to weaponry, and we shouldn't be allowed to possess semi-automatic firearms. This is a nation from those who wish to dismantle our rights is based upon the appearance of a firearm rather than its functionality. The Second Amendment wasn't written to preserve hunting or whether else, excuse me for a second, I'm trying to do this on the phone, or whatever else someone wants to claim. It was written with clear intentions as described within the Federalist Papers. The Second Amendment is our tool to take back our government when it is no longer for the people, by the people. People fail to realize that the Constitution is in place to protect our rights from the government, and if we allow this to happen, we will no longer have tools to stop them from stripping our rights further away from us. I find it extremely sickening that we as a society continually move to attack the tool when it comes to the gun crimes, instead of the individual who chose to use the tool. We don't blame cars or drunk driving deaths, we blame the driver. We can take it one step further and say we don't blame cars or cell phones for the deaths caused by texting and driving. We blame the driver yet again. We don't blame bombs or bombings, we blame the individual who used the bomb. Statistics clearly state that the so-called assault rifle is a minor blip when it comes down to it. In fact, hammers have been used by people to commit far more homicides than those homicides committed with the so-called assault rifle. It is extremely troubling that those who further wish to push these assault rifle bans can't even tell us what an assault rifle is. A modern sporting rifle, as they claim, has no purpose but to kill. It is not the high-powered firearm they claim it is. The Armalite rifle, Design 15, is one of the easiest firearms to learn to shoot, to hunt, and defend ourselves with. They claim that only people that should have these guns are law enforcement and the military. Well, aren't you the same people screaming about police brutality and how something needs to be done about a few bad apples, abuse of power? Rights don't change because technology advances. If this was the case, our speech via text, email, cellular calls, phone calls would be protected under the 4th or 5th Amendment. And we leave you with this quote from Thomas Jefferson: "I prefer dangerous freedom over peaceful slavery." Thank you.
Yeah.
I want to thank all of our speakers that are coming here today, but especially the next one, because I have been promised by this person that when I say let's get our liberty on, that he is not going to drop the ball, that there is not going to be any changes in the tempo. So the tempo is set by us as we the people. We the people decide, not our government. That's where things got twisted. And by you all coming out here today and exercising your First Amendment, it's like a muscle. You're exercising it. The more you do it, the stronger you get. Same with our Second Amendment. So, with no further ado, actually, I'm going to call Nicki Stallard from the Pink Pistols. Can I get a round of applause?
How's everybody doing today? Yeah! Okay, for those, first of all, how many of you have heard of Pink Pistols? Okay, great, that rocks. Okay, for those of you who haven't heard of us, we are an LGBTQ self-defense group. Our motto is armed gays don't get bashed. Now, why am I here? Be in front of a group of predominantly conservatives, Republicans, and everything? because regardless of our differences, what unites us is we all support our human right of self-defense. Agreed?
Yeah!
Okay, and the Second Amendment is more than just our personal right of self-defense. It is our mandatory constitutional duty to protect our free republic from enemies foreign and domestic. Agreed?
Yeah!
Okay, yeah, maybe like right behind me there might be some DEs back here. What do you think? Domestic enemies behind me? Okay. Now let me ask this, how many of you in here support the Declaration of Independence? The Spirit say yay. And how many of you support that Constitution?
Yeah!
And how about that Bill of Rights?
Yeah!
Okay, now, regardless of whether you're black, white, gay, straight, purple, or whatever, if you support those values, your blood is red, white, and blue. Agreed?
Yeah!
Okay, now you are at the forefront. You are the fighters for our liberty. So what I'd like everybody to do is just kind of turn around, high five every person around you. Because you took the time to be out here. This is your rally. So give yourselves a high five and go, yeah!
Yeah!
Now some people say, I want to leave California because it's too tough. Well, you know what? We can leave California, but these guys are going to follow. So I say, we draw a line in the sand here.
Yeah!
Okay, we are privileged for being on the front lines for liberty. We are the descendants of those brave patriots at Lexington and Concord, who on April 19th will be celebrating, I don't know, anybody good at math, but April 19th, 1775 is when the first shots of the American Revolution were started. 243 years ago, this upcoming Thursday, we're going to be celebrating the birth of our nation. And no one knows who fired the first shots that day, but the bottom line, King George didn't get the message that on July 4th, 1776, a big message got sent to him. And then at Battle of Yorktown, Cornwallis left the United States after, I guess, the Swamp Fox and others surrounded him and kicked his butt, right? Okay. Now, we have to take a look, okay? We got some very serious problems here we have to deal with. First of all, the legislature behind us will pass gun laws. And now, I know the NRA, I know the guys at the Second Amendment Foundation, Gun Rights of California, FPC, lots of good guys. They're playing defense, they're doing their best. But the bottom line, this legislature passes laws. Okay, they can't stop them. Laws will get to Governor Brown's desk. And believe it or not, Jerry Brown has been a moderating force. The next governor that we're going to get, I don't know which one it'll be, most likely a Democrat, but they will sign every bill these guys send to them. And if it's Gavin Newsom, not only will he sign every law, he will go and say, hey, I want more. So things are bleak. Would you guys agree?
Yeah.
Okay, now, we are standing and we are facing firearms confiscation. I'm not going to sugarcoat things. We are facing the end of California gun rights if we let it. Are we going to let it?
No.
Okay. Now, many of you and many gun owners are asleep. They believe that the Supreme Court said we have a Second Amendment right. We got the Heller case, right? Have you guys heard of that?
Yeah.
Yeah, Supreme Court said in 2008 we have an individual right to keep and bear arms. Said in 2010 in the McDonald case that the Second Amendment is incorporated on all 50 states, and California is still part of the United States via the 14th Amendment. So that should have been a done deal in 2010, right? Okay, but what's been happening is the lower courts have been upholding every gun law pretty much that comes to them. So and the Supreme Court has refused to take any more Second Amendment cases since 2010. So what we have on the federal level in the courts is we have the illusion that we have a Second Amendment right. Okay? Do you guys understand that? Okay, our Congress and Senate, we got gridlock. Now the polls are showing that the Democrats may get one or both houses. If they get one house, all federal pro-gun legislation is dead. If they get control of the Senate, Trump will not be able to nominate any pro-gun justices. So our situation is bleak. Okay? Now, I'm not here to give you guys a downer, because I want to give you something positive. But I need to lay the groundwork where we're at. Now, how did we get into this mess? Okay? Truth, California culture change. How many of you guys were here in the 80s and further back? Okay, when I came to California in 86, I'd say California was moderately pro-gun. But California the culture has changed over the last 30 years. Many of the people who came to California immigrated to the United States. They came from countries with no gun culture. The only people who have guns were cops and criminals. Okay, most of them settled in a place like Los Angeles, San Francisco. Where do they get their impression of us? From Hollywood, from the news. Do you think they get a good impression of us? No. So what has happened is California culture has changed. It's hostile. We found out with Proposition 63 when 2/3 of the people actually voted for that thing that Gavin put under the ballot. So we have work to do. Now, here's how many of you guys know about the Veto Gun Megadon Project?
Yeah.
Okay, some of you. Now, what happened is back in 2016, a handful of us tried to block laws. And even though the Veto Gun Megadon Project did not succeed, out of 1,500 of us in the state stepping up, we got 100,000 plus signatures on every referendum. We had 7 of them. 1,500 out of 8.8 to 10 million gun owners. We did not lose. We forfeited the fight. Would you guys agree?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, let's take a look at what we have. We have 8 to 10 million gun owners. We probably got about 1 million people who own so-called black rifles. We have 100,000 plus people who got concealed carry permits. We have 60% of all new firearms sold in California were to new-time buyers. So, do we potentially have the force of people to step up and get involved?
Yeah.
Yes, we have the resources. The question is, do we got the will? If we lose our Second Amendment right, it's not because these guys took it from us. It's because we forfeited the fight.
Yeah.
Now, I got my foot in many different camps, but what we have to do is take a look at what works. Now, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. What we just need to do is take a look at other groups and see what they did and adopt their strategies and their tactics. That sound fair to you? Okay, now, regardless of where you sit on gay rights, it's not the issue. But would you agree that they've been very effective politically in this state? So what if we took their tactics and applied to gun rights? Okay, so some differences between the gay community and the gun community. The gun community, less than half of us are registered to vote. The gay community is close to 100%. Out of the half that are registered to vote, maybe half of a gun owners vote. In gays, it's close to 80%. Involvement in gun organizations. Less than 10% of the gun owners are a member of any gun organization. When it comes to gays, it's close to 30 to 50%. The bottom line is they are active. When Prop 63 passed, how many of you got notices from your local gun club that we're going to have a meeting and stuff and see what we could do about it? Crickets, right? Okay, I was in San Jose, and I got an email on a Friday night, okay, from a gay center saying Prop 8 passed. There was going to be a meeting on Sunday morning. So I expected, okay, I'll go down and check this out. I figured, maybe about 20, 30 people would show up. 300 people showed up. And up in San Francisco, they took to the streets. Now, regardless of where you stood on Prop 8, what they said is, oh my God, we got hit. We got to regroup. What do we do? And they went on offense. And that's what I want to talk to you about, is offense versus defense. Okay, defense sucks. When you're playing defense, it's like being in a fight and someone's always punching you and you're never punching back. Does that sound like winning strategy to you? Okay, now on offense, on the other hand, you beat the other person up till you're tired. Then you go take a nap, have your latte, get yourself, all refreshed, and then you go back and you kick again. You like that better? Okay, politics is war, and that's what we're at. These guys have declared war on us, haven't they?
Yeah.
So, how do we win war? Well, what we do is we put these guys on defense, and then we eliminate their ability to go on offense to us, and then we eliminate their defenses, and we go to scorched earth to enforce unconditional surrender on our terms.
Yeah.
So how do we do that in California? Okay, it's up to each of us. Okay, now we have a thing in our California Constitution called a referendum. How many of you saw the movie Star Wars Episode 4, New Hope? Right? Okay, so the rebels were totally hopeless, okay? But they found a flaw in the Death Star. And they lobbed this photo laser torpedo into it that blew the whole thing to Kingdom Comes, right? Well, the referendum is our Death Star killer. Okay, to qualify a referendum, we need 366,000 valid signatures. Let's see, we got 8 to 10 million gun owners. We need 1 in 10 gun owners to sign a referendum. Does that sound impossible? Okay, if 1 in 100 gun owners would get involved, okay? 1 in 100, okay? Commit about 2 to 3 hours for every referendum we draw up, we win. We have the resources, we have the time. The question is if we got a will. If we apply the resources we have, the time, we win. We cannot fail. Agreed? Now, if we fail, it's not we don't fail, we forfeit. We forfeit to apathy. And anybody who says that they support the Second Amendment and refuse to get involved, as far as I'm concerned, they forfeit not only their right to keep and bear arms, but they forfeit their right to be an American. Okay, we don't have time for the apathy. You're on this one, because it's more than just our guns. If we lose our gun rights, then we lose our ability to control our government. And our government, right now, would you agree that we live under what I call soft tyranny? Okay, you go into hard tyranny when you lose the ability to remove your government by force. And that's what this is about.
And it's being taken up in Washington against here on the very, very people that reside here in this state. So we all need to stick together. We all need to stand up and fight for our rights right now before we lose them all. Okay? Right now, we have our Second Amendment right being under threat. And a great man said that if our Second Amendment right is ever has the chance to be taken away, all of our rights have a chance to be taken away. That great man name is Thomas Jefferson, one of our nation's founders. And with the Jefferson State people here, I'm pretty sure you can understand why Jefferson was one of the founding fathers. They stood for our freedom and our individual liberties, and that's exactly what we need to stand here for today. Our state officials are not respecting the Constitution, and they do need to be held accountable, which is why I'm running for governor of California. Because we need to get a representative of the people, for the people, by the people, into office, and it will stand up for the everyday average American, the hard workers of this state, the people that are making sure that we, the people, stay protected. Our troops are overseas right now. They're spread about the world. They're not here protecting our borders where they need to be. The reason why we're not being invaded by people from another country is because every person in this country has the right to bear arms and protect themselves and their fellow countrymen. We need to make sure that that right stays protected, and it stays in place, and it stays respected by our representatives. These are supposed to be representatives of us. Are they?
No.
So what do we have to do? We got to vote them out, right? All right, that's the only way that we're able to do it. And Republican or Democrat, they're not standing up for us. We all know that they're corporate sponsored, they're bought out and paid for by big banks, big businesses, and they don't care about us, the little people, okay? And we're the ones keeping this state running. So what we need to do is fight the two-party system, say no to any candidate that's going to take money from any special interest group, and start supporting those candidates that do represent us. The candidates in the debates right now, they have to have $100,000 in campaign funds just to be presented on stage. I don't have that kind of money. How many of you have $100,000 just to throw away? You see? But yet they're claiming to be representatives of us. They're not, okay? And one way or another, they are bound to compromise our rights, and I would like to stand firm on protecting our rights and make sure that every American here in the state of California is protected. And now I would love to have an opportunity to represent we the people, which is why I'm asking you for your vote. It's imperative that we do vote on June 5th. The reason being is because we have a two-party primary system, which means the top two candidates that gets the majority of the votes in June, regardless of party, will be the only two that we all get to choose from in November. So it's a great possibility that we can get stuck with two Democrats in June that will be the only two that we all get to choose from in November. That's a robbery of our democratic right to be able to vote and choose between two opposing views. We shouldn't be forced to choose between Democrat A and Democrat B, okay? And I would love for you, again, to get behind the Libertarian Party. We stand for freedom. Freedom for all. No compromise.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I stand for. The fine line in the sand is we'll be making sure that every state official upholds the United States Constitution. There will be no infringement of that. There will be no compromise of that. And I will make sure as governor that every state official upholds the Constitution and will protect you as an individual. Thank you for your time. Please visit my website, Wildstar2018.com.
Kimo Mclain, ready to come up on stage. He is the founder of WFB, We the People, for the people, and by the people. So give him a hand.
Hi, thank you, everybody. It's been a hell of a day, and I'm really glad to see everybody out here. I got a question. How many fathers we got here? Come on, let's see some hands. Come on. Mothers? Come on. Well, we already saw a limited amount of kids, but the point of the fact is we have a constitutional responsibility to take care of our families. It's that simple. Okay? All due respect to politicians. Thank you. All due respect to the politicians and the people willing to deal with the insanity behind here. And that's what it is. It's just sheer insanity. If anyone wants to question whether I can prove that, I can prove it to you 21 trillion times. It's that simple. Okay? I don't have the gumption nor the desire to take that on. But what we can do, all of us, as mothers, fathers, parents, veterans, oath keepers, 3%, all of us, we can take care of our families first. And that's what WFB is all about. We have a simple motto, okay? We all agree to disagree about religion, politics, and sexual preference. Some of the key factors in this create division. Now, for my Patriot brothers out there, we have to keep this in mind when we join our Patriot groups. Everybody else has a difference of opinion, but guess what? We're all worth something. We all have a skill we can contribute to our families, our communities, and everybody else. If we don't look at that first, then all we're going to do is seek division. It's an easy way out to find what's wrong. It takes a hell of a lot of a big set of to find what's right and make it right. Okay, not many of you know me. I'm Kimo Mclain. I have a small page on Facebook. I'm not politically motivated at all. I wrote a little article called Food for Thought. And I'd like to give you guys something here. It's something to think about. I'm just going to keep this real short and sweet because, you know, we all have constitutional responsibilities. So I want to ask you to say this to you, and hopefully this will mean something. I fear no man, but the man that lies down digs not only his grave, digs ours too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
He's going to use his Mexican card, but we're going to let him. The very talented, multilingual David Garcia.
How's everybody doing today?
Good.
Okay, the fake media is going to portray us as heartless, right? We're not heartless. So just a moment of silence for all the victims of gun violence. Can we just do that? Moment of silence. Okay, thank you. That went all to Florida, all the victims of gun violence, because I know they just think we're heartless. We're just a bunch of thugs. We got AR-15s, which we do. We got a lot of them. But maybe we registered them, maybe we didn't. Anyway, I'm here exercising my First Amendment right because of the vets, of the veterans, which includes my grandfather, Sergeant Alejandro Duarte Jr., World War II in Korea, my uncle, Ignacio Duarte, Normandy, and my uncle, Heriberto, who didn't come back from Nam, Heriberto Blanco. So because of them, I love the vets. I wish I could have served. Just a brief history. On my mom's side, they served in the Confederate. They were Mexican Confederates, believe it. They were Mexican Confederates that fought against the Union. So we were kicking butt. Then the white boys came and said, hey, we're giving up. I said, what are we giving up? The Mexicans are still going. So that's a history. That's a historical fact. All right. It's all right. It's all right. So anyways, on my dad's side, my uncle fought alongside with Pancho Villa. So where I'm going with this is I got rebellion in my blood. On the Garcia and the Duarte side, we didn't lay down to tyranny, you know. Now we got to use our brains. We can't go out there and use our guns. Not yet. I don't know. So anyways, we got to use smarts. We got to use smarts. And I know our so-called legislators, the lightweights, are not here today. So you know what? Like my colleague from Jefferson said, he's screaming, sorry, dude, they're not there. So what we're going to do right now, we're going to let Governor Brown, Mr. Becerra, it's not Becerra, it's Becerra, and Alex Padilla, we got to let them know who we are. So all together, if we're for gun rights, you ready? USA! 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 Now, I'm pretty sure they're going to get the message, but they're going to ignore us. But that's just to let them know who we are. Who we are. So I come from the southern part of Jefferson. And I always like to be introduced as the southern part because, like I said, on my mom's side in the Confederacy, the South fought the North. So I take a lot of pride in being from southern Jefferson. So I love my state. We're not going to talk about any politics. We're going to get right to the facts. And I need for all of you to spread these facts. And this is the showstopper. And listen up, Jorge Ramos. Jorge Ramos, you fake Mexican. You're an embarrassment to my race. And yeah, I said it. David Garcia said it. Univision too, you guys are a bunch of liars. All right.
Yeah.
So here we go. Did you know in Mexico, the Mexican Constitution guarantees more rights than ours? The Mexican Constitution is beautiful, and the Mexican Constitution guarantees each citizen up to a 38 special.
Yeah.
But you know what? Their Second Amendment has no backbone, so that's why all of their amendments are just kicked to the curb. All right? My wife is from Brazil, and in Brazil, the only place that got the guns are the dudes in the favelas, the drug traffickers. And going back to Mexico, you know how that's working out. There are strict gun laws. So spread that word. Those are actual facts because I've been there and I've seen it. Okay. Now they say England. Oh, England don't have no crime. So what? It's an island, dude. It's easy to protect an island. Japan, the same way. But the Yakuza got hella guns, right? The Japanese mafia. So now if they want to talk about good gun freedom, Switzerland. I just saw things. Switzerland, they got hella guns, dude. And nobody's going crazy over there.
Automatic at home.
So those are facts. Those are facts, okay? Those are written facts.
I can tell you
and
that
the
right
fake
now.
media
Yeah.
will try and mix it up, but those are facts. Okay. Now, to the people in Florida, excuse me. You know, most of you got high school kids in school, right? So how many times has your kid come home and said, hey, we're selling candy bars for a field trip to down the road? How many candy bars did they sell to go to Washington, dude? How many kids went? 800,000 kids or whatever it was? I mean, that's a lot of candy bars. I'm being sarcastic. You know where that money came from. So that's just something for you to think about. I grew up in the 1980s. When Top Gun came out, all of my buddies, even though they're white boys, all right, they're still my buddies, we wore shirts that say, kill a commie for mommy. There wasn't no political correctness. All my buddies had gun racks in their pickups. They used to go hunting before school and after school. So there's something wrong with the new generation of Americans, right? Most of them, the new kids. So, I mean, they're eating Tide Pods and snorting condoms. I mean, dude, come on. At least you're going to smoke some coke, man. You know, get something out of it. Get a chick, get a party going on. So anyways, that's my message. And, just to let you know how crazy my grandfather was and my uncles, that after Pearl Harbor and they went to war, you know what they did? And there was no political correctness. They got drunk and they made bets, all of my uncles. And they said, who can come home with the most medals? Now, that was no political correctness there. They say, we're going to come back. Who can come back with the most medals? So that's how crazy. So, and like I said, before I go, the media, the Democrats, depict us Mexicans as, we need your help. We don't help. We don't need nothing from you. Nothing. I'm a Mexican who speaks 7 languages. And they said, the dreamers. Dude, we don't need no dreamers. We don't need no dreamers. My daughter is 14. She speaks 3 languages. Next year, she signed up for French. Her goal is to speak 4 languages when she graduates. That's the real dreamer. Here's another real dreamer. Dr. Martin Luther King was the real dreamer. A real dreamer. He didn't come over here and act all stupid. You know, that's why he killed him. So, like I said before, one more time before I go, I had a lot of good ones. I'm going to keep it short. My wife came in as an illegal from Brazil. So we went to the immigration and we said, this is our story. She came in as an illegal. And immigration says, well, okay, son, well, to do it legally, your wife has to go back to Brazil and come back in the way. I said, well, I hated it, but I didn't cry. I didn't go like to Jorge Ramos, mira lo que me están haciendo, like a wimp. I sucked it up. We cried. We almost got a divorce. We waited 8 years. 8 years. So DACA, listen up. Take a number, get in line. Hello? Yeah, this is my state of Jefferson, Southern Jefferson. I love all you guys. We're all Americans. Americans shouldn't be fighting Americans. One voice. God bless our nation.
Yeah!
All right, I don't know where to start. Okay, the youngest son. Is there a young son in here? The youngest son? Oh, here you go. Here, son. I like the hat. I got one of them. All right, God bless you. I love you.
Love you too.
Thank you, David. Thank you for ending on that high note, because we need to hear from people like that. You guys, we are Americans, and we are here for America. So I am so glad that you guys came out, got your liberty on. I'm going to break this off by reminding you that Nicki has asked you guys to go sign that referendum. We are here because the Second Amendment is being threatened. If you can make it over to the booth, get over there, get the information, make sure that a signature gets on a piece of paper, because we need to start standing and rising. Not just standing, but rise together. So today, at this point, meet your neighbor, make a friend. Make sure you guys stick together, and the next one will come in double the size. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.